Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Bros podcast, episode 42 today. If it's your first time joining us, welcome. My name is Jeremy. I'm joined by my lovely friend and co-host, Ilan. How are you going, mates?
I'm great, but more importantly, we're joined by Sam Tait, the Paralympian. How are you, mate?
I'm good, guys. It's good to be here.
We're pleased to have you on. When I spoke for a while, we were very keen on getting you on to hear your story, to hear kind of your journey through the Paralympics, and just more so to learn more about you and kind of some of the things that you've been speaking about. I know Jeremy and myself listened to you on Brad's podcast, Bradley Dryberg, who we had on kind of a few months ago. And I also listened to you on Cooper Chapman, and we thought you'd be a perfect person to speak to because we're all about, positivity, gratitude, and, delving into life's perspectives and purpose on this podcast. So we thought, why not?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Epic.
I'm excited to chat to you guys this morning.
Epic. Thanks for being on, mate, and keen to dive into it. So, Sam, tell us a bit about yourself because, you're not just a Paralympian. There's plenty to you as well, mate. So how was growing up for you as a young adult, as an adolescent, finding your feet in this big wide world? What were you like growing up?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start on this one, but I guess I grew up in the country in our house, South Sydney, in the suburb called Bowral, our Southern Highlands area. Grew up on 6 acres. I've got a twin brother and a younger sister, and we grew up all before that technology kind of became huge. I guess I'm 32 years old, so we didn't have really smartphones until end of year 12 for me. So it was kind of nice to have that growing up, playing in the mud, going to the dam, being outside, playing, making potato cannons. I don't know if you guys are aware of those. I'm sure most boys are.
Nah, tell us more.
Potato cannons, what?
What are they?
Epic.
I don't want to give any listeners the wrong, how to make technically a weapon, but it's a PVC pipe with a little chamber at the back of it, and you put a potato in the pipe, chuck it down and deodorant in the chamber, and then light the deodorant, and the potato shoots out the other side.
That's epic.
That sounds actually sophisticated.
I've never heard of that one. That sounds epic. We'll get up to some mischief up in the Highlands with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we had to eventually give it over to the cops because it wasn't. They thought we had a gun, but I mean, it wasn't the safest thing to have around. But it was a lot of fun growing up and kind of playing with that sort of equipment out on the land and just being kids or being teenagers at that point. So.
Yeah, well, when you don't have the technology and the mobile phones like we do today, I mean, I wish our teen years growing up was like that in a way where we could just get creative and just allow ourselves to be the kids that we are and not be distracted by everything which we are now. So, I mean, that sounds epic to me. So it would have been
I think
completely
we've had
beneficial.
I've had the best of kind of both worlds or both sides of it growing up with no technology and experiencing it now. And I wish the generation now grew up like that as well, because I don't think many people appreciate being outdoors and just getting dirty or getting covered in mud or finding your way home without Google Maps or something like that. It's I know it's evolution and technology, but it's I think it's just everything's a lot more accessible, easily accessed now, and it's just a bit. It's the way of the world. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing. It's great because technology makes things way more productive and efficient. But you look at some of the mental health in young people nowadays, and you can attribute it to social media constantly being on screens and not getting enough sunlight and being outdoors. So definitely part of me is a bit envious that I didn't have that opportunity of just being able to not have a phone, because that's all Jeremy and I know is technology. So we're both 23, so it's all we've been exposed to.
I think the younger generation don't really understand or kind of know what happened before smartphones, because it's kind of all, I guess you guys are grown up on. But Yeah, I love technology, but it's like you wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone. It's like just leave your phone for an hour and go outside and just go for a walk or something. Um, yeah, and then I think that technology definitely correlates to that mental health with image dysmorphia and everything you see online you want to be like. And it's just, I don't think it's very healthy at all. It's, I guess it's part of the world and it's part of what we got to deal with moving on and growing up. So, yeah.
No, fair enough. I'm from just listening to you and like the other potties that you've been on. You're a very positive person, and like for us, that's a huge theme of our podcast: is being as positive as you can, having and kind of communicating gratitude where you can as well. But in school, in your high school years, do you feel like you were that sort of person as well? Or do you think you were someone who was quite positive, quite grateful, or yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I guess I always just looked at the glass is half full side of things as opposed to half empty. Um, I wasn't really academically excelling in school. I was just there to have a good time, make friends, get by. I didn't want to go to uni. And then I was just there to kind of really make some good friends. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do after school. I had no ideas. And then kind of just really just kind of going with life, like day by day, really, and kind of just like, oh yeah, I'll do this job for a bit and then do another one, and kind of hopefully I'll find something eventually that I love. And I did that for after school for 3-4 years, and then quit my job of it was about 4 years. Had 6 months left on my apprenticeship, which was a CAD detail apprenticeship, so computer aided drawing, I think, like architecture drafting on the computer. Hated it, but quit TAFE, quit my job with 6 months left, and I look back now and I'm like, God, I wish I just finished that TAFE course.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like I'm still good at it. I still can draw on the computer, but I don't have a certificate to be like, oh yeah, I can go apply for this job. I've got this certification. Like I don't have anything to say I've studied. I've got like my little modules that I've studied, but not a certificate. So it'd be nice to have it now, just to fall back on something if needed. But I mean, hindsight is a lovely thing, but is what it is. I left that job and started an electrical apprenticeship. So and found that, and I loved that. That was, yeah. I was enjoying waking up at 5 a.m. to go to work.
Oh, well, that's awesome then.
Yeah.
To hear that, you found that purpose there in that job, because like, coming out of school, it's something we often talk about. We have that stress and that concern, and we feel like we need to know what we have to be doing, which is the most, it's the most overwhelming feeling. And you've mentioned there that you were doing so much pressure, and you had that CAD job, and you were in and out with that, and I'm sure you would have reached a point as well where you were thinking, well, like, far out, like, what am I meant to be doing? And then you eventually gave things another crack and found that apprenticeship, which was great for you in the end. So
yeah, 100%. It was it was great, and then ended up wanting more adrenaline in life, and as things do when you're a young 22-year-old male, you try and find more things to spark up your life, and sold my car and bought a motorbike. And then that leads me to the next 10, 11 years of my life. Really.
Yeah. So where did skiing happen for you? Was it always something you were doing growing up? Was it something that you ever considered delving deeper into, like, as a teen, or was it just more of a hobby for you, or where did it fall into place with skiing?
We just use skiing as family holidays to go overseas and experience different parts of the world. We never really were like a summer beach pool kind of lay on the side of the beach drinking cocktails type thing family. We kind of went to Japan and Canada and America and did skiing over there. So skiing has been like in my family for as long as I can remember. But I've never thought, oh yeah, I could pursue this in a professional state or um, in a way where I could be an Olympian or a Paralympian. It was more just, oh yeah, this is cool. I can ski, but I'm not motivated to put time into training, or I didn't think it never really crossed my mind being, oh yeah, I could be better at this. It was just there to kind of have fun and be on the snow and be with my family and friends.
That's awesome. It's funny because like when I think of Australia and its involvement in like the Winter Paralympics and the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, it's interesting because like we're not necessarily excelling at it because we're not a country like Canada or somewhere in Northern Europe or in Scandinavia where it's cold. Like you're in Australia, you really need to go out just to find some snow, and even then I feel like I've only gone skiing once in my life. I want to go again. When I was 8 years old, and I hated it because of how heavy the boots were. But it's something I've wanted to get into again, but it's just difficult because Australia is not like, we're way more of like a summer sport sort of place. But you mentioned you were so you said you were a bit of an adrenaline junkie. You bought yourself a motorcycle. Tell us a bit about that kind of time in your life.
Yeah, so I guess I love the idea of having a motorbike and just being away from technology. You can't get out your phone and make a text or get a call. It's like tucked away, and I just enjoyed riding the bike with you. It's your bike, and you've got every. I mean, you make one mistake, and like obviously you can have a bad accident, but it's kind of, I just like the freedom the bike gave you, and it kind of felt like the most. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just, have you guys ridden bikes before? Motorbikes or anything?
Not a motorbike, but I've gone very fast on my road bike. If that counts.
Yeah, I'm sure it counts. I mean, you're still on the road and you're wearing minimal clothing. You've still got all the environments that can hit you and affect you. So it was just something that I wanted as a 22-year-old, just to kind of be like, oh yeah, I can go out with a few mates, ride my bike, get a bit of a adrenaline hit, and then come back and kind of even my life out. Not to say that the other aspects of life was boring, but I just wanted, I think as a guy, we all want that thrill aspect, or that you're living your life. Shit, that was a bit scary type moments.
It's almost like a sense of freedom you get. I feel like when you do anything that 100%. Is a bit of like a holy shit moment. Like I'll even compare it to if you go on a really scary ride at a amusement park or something.
Yeah.
You get that sense of like freedom, or that when you go down that like massive ramp and you're so anxious about it, but then you're doing it and it's like you're loving it. I feel like you might have a point with like the fact that as guys we want that sense of freedom. I feel like it gives you that. And I think a lot of adrenaline-fueled activities tend to do that.
Yeah, and it's the unknown around the next corner, or what's going to happen if I drop off this slide. It's like, you want to experience, you want to know what's coming up, so you keep pushing it. Yeah.
And nothing of that sort was ever overwhelming or scary for you in a way?
Riding a bike, not like I remember the day of my accident, I had some moments where like I had kind of settled into riding, and I was kind of, wouldn't say pushing the limits, but I was pushing my skill level. And there was a moment where I was like, oh shit, that could have, I could have ended up over the barrier in that turn. But I did, and then you kind of hold back for a bit, and then you kind of forget that, and you kind of push a bit more. But riding the bike, like I only had my L's for 4 months, so I was really new in the scheme of things. Didn't really understand like bike mechanics with like the springs and the leaning into corners and the forces that come with everything, and like braking into corners and not braking like around the corner. So I was still learning all that, and then yeah, obviously, I don't remember my accident, but I remember the whole day, and then probably a few minutes before my accident, and then kind of black out, and 3 days later, I wake up in hospital.
What was that day like, just waking up on that morning? Did you get any sort of, gut instinct can be a powerful thing at times. It's,
Yeah,
I mean, when something really fucked up happens or something that you can't anticipate, I sometimes think there's something out there that kind of notifies us in a very gentle way.
yeah.
Do you feel like there was anything of that sort that told you something was around the corner?
Oh, before my accident, you mean?
Even on
Nah.
that day, just waking up, or was it just like a normal
Um,
day?
Not on my side, but on my partner at the time's side and my brother. Um, my brother woke up feeling sick that morning just randomly for the whole day, and he didn't feel good at all. And then when my friends called my partner, she said when she saw his name on his phone, she knew something was wrong. And then when she called my brother, he was like, "Oh, that like." He talks about it now. Like that makes sense because I was feeling so sick and ill that day. Um, and then yeah, they all obviously found out, and there was just no one said anything to me. And let's be honest, if someone said anything to me, I would have still done everything I would have done anyway. I probably wouldn't. I'm not very superstitious, so I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's two people are having weird feelings. I'm not going to ride today.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see a different life, and if someone did say something about it. But I mean, I feel pretty content and pretty happy and on the right path of my life now. So I don't think I'm on the wrong life path of where I should be.
Excellent, mate. Yeah, I think that's a interesting point you make there about, the feeling of being content and gratified now, because I can only imagine that at the time that's probably not something that you would have been feeling in that moment of when stuff just went the way it probably didn't. You probably didn't want it to go, and you're waking up and you're lying in that hospital bed.
Yeah.
Was there a moment of having those thoughts, of having the thought of, what's happened has happened, but it'll be okay? Or in those moments, in those first moments, is it just natural to think of worst case scenario type stuff?
Yeah, in that moment, I remember waking up and, well, I remember like kind of my first memories after my accident. And I think, as you said before, I'd already kind of consciously know that something had happened and I couldn't walk, or I was I'd been in a bad accident. And I woke up and like doctors came in and family were like, there, or you've had motorbike accident, you've done completely severed your spine from T10 level, you're going to be paralyzed from the waist down. And at the time I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like I was a bit naive. I was like, oh, you guys don't really know what you're talking about. I'm going to be fine, and it's going to heal, and I'm going to be back at work in a week, and everything's going to be fine. And then I remember sending a message to one of my workmates saying, it was like, hey mate, I'm not going to be in work tomorrow. I've had a motorbike accident. Can you tell my boss? And I think that, like, say I'm not going to be in work tomorrow, as opposed to I'm not going to be in work probably ever again, was kind of me trying to keep positive and trying to, I guess, find the glass half full side of things, or trying to be like, I don't know, just trying to stay positive really, and trying to be like, oh no, this is only a minor bump in my life and it's going to be sweet. But then obviously weeks and months and years, and now we're here. So it's yeah, I've had one kind of, I think, night in hospital where my dad was there, and I just kind of was like, why me? This is so fucked up. And like just basically like asking why, and then I think we cried for maybe half an hour, and then it was like, sweet, needed to get that out, and now let's just get to rehab and let's just get better and get home and get back to a normal life as more normal as life can be back then. So
What was that like though, that process? Because you're in hospital on the North Shore,
yeah,
and then you get transferred to Prince of Wales. I think that's what it's called
Prince of Wales,
on the
yep.
south. I only know that because I was born there. But and you were doing rehab there, and it was a completely different sort of setting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You've gone from somewhere where you're getting scans for, say, to diagnose what's actually happened, and now you're kind of on a movement to recover and to rehabilitate. What was that process like?
Yeah, going from Royal North Shore to Prince of Wales was pretty mind-opening. In hindsight, if I knew what Prince of Wales was, I would have wanted to stay in over in Royal North Shore for as long as I could. Because Royal North Shore was this brand new hospital. The nurses were so nice. It was light. It was there was natural light coming in. Everyone was like they come to you if you press your buzzer within like a few seconds or less than a minute, and then I was like, oh, when you get transferred to Prince of Wales, you'll start your rehab process, and then when you get, I guess, independent with everything there, then you'll go home. So I was like, oh, sweet, I'll get there as fast as I can, and then I'll get better, do rehabbing, and be able to get home as quick as possible. I get into Prince of Wales on a Friday afternoon at about 4:00. The main doctors, nurses, everyone had signed off. No one really knew I was coming. I didn't have a wheelchair to move around in, so I was basically visiting hours, I think, had stopped. So I got patient transport from Ryde to Royal North Shore to Prince of Wales, by myself, and I had no idea what to expect. Get there, they transferred me onto a bed, and then I kind of left in this dark room on the bottom floor of the hospital with 4 other people kind of just laying there looking dead, really. And I was like, where am I? Surely I'm in the wrong part of the hospital. And then some guy comes up and he's like, oh, we're going to try and get a chair for you for the weekend. We're not sure if we can. So you can kind of get up and move around if you want. And I think at this point I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for the weekend to be finished so I can meet my doctors and my family can come visit again. And it was, getting there, that because it was only about 10 days after my accident that I got there. So I was probably still in a bit of pain, not really knowing the extent of my injury and how to, I guess, transfer from my bed to my chair, how to use a toilet, how to use a shower. It was all obviously all new. I was learning to basically walk again in the sense of that. So it definitely tested my test of strength and my resilience, because I was thrown in there with basically hit rock bottom, and I was like, let's kind of just get through this weekend, and then when we get on Monday, we'll meet everyone, and hopefully there'll be a better vibe and a bit more positive energy around. And there was, but the patients in that hospital were hard to be around. I was like the only kind of one around with a smile, so it wasn't easy to be.
Yeah, you mentioned resilience there, and I think that's something that as Australians we would typically pride ourselves on. The ability to just get up and get on with things and have the she'll be right mentality. But you said how in hospital it's natural that you had that moment with your dad where you think, why me? And the emotions come out for that 30-minute spell. And that 30-minute spell of thinking, why me, that could be something where, for a lot of people listening, they think, well, did it only last 30 minutes of that why
Yeah.
me mentality? Like, were you able to just really get on with it, like after that spell, and pick up and carry on? Because for something traumatic, and for whatever that is traumatic that can go on in anyone's life, it can be something where we dwell on for quite a long period of time. It can be a
Yeah.
period of years as well for some of us. So was it really just a moment, a fleeting moment for you of thinking, why me? And did you always pride yourself on being a resilient person, and therefore having the ability to just crack on and get on with it and have that smile on your face?
Yeah, I think I had that 30 minutes of like, why me? And I'm not saying there were the rest of the next 10 years were great days and there was no sad days or anything. But I think after that, for me, it was hard to see my family and friends in pain and like kind of try and accept what happened to me. So I was like, if I'm putting a smile on and I'm happy and I'm living life the best I can, then it'll help them accept and move on and go back to life. So I think that was my biggest motivator to just kind of get through every day and get through rehab and then get home and get back to life, to try and help my family and friends as best I could, for them to accept this whole incident situation, for them to be able to get accept and get them better and back to a normal way of life as quick as they can. So yeah, I think that was the first 5 years I kind of did that, and then the fifth year hit pretty hard. I don't know.
Yeah. How so?
It would have been 2018. I just done 4 years of skiing, 4 years skiing. I just gone to Paralympic Games and got home, and I kind of thought things would, change, get better, or life would just be great. But things, when I got home in the Paralympics, things kind of stayed the same, and like nothing really sparked my fire or anything up again. So like I went back to skiing, and like life was great, but I felt like I was missing something. And I think the 5 years prior to that, I was just living. I kind of didn't have time to process my injury or what had kind of happened. I'd kind of gone from my accident to rehab to skiing, and just then basically skied back-to-back winters for the next 4 years. And then 2018, it kind of all slowed down, and it just kind of, like, there are moments where I was like, fuck, I just want to walk up those stairs and just be normal. I just want to be able to walk out of the ski lodge and not worry about a skidoo to get me like across the road, or my sit ski to get me skiing. And there was just days where I was just over it, and I was like, this fucking sucks. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but there was just moments, it was maybe a few months where I was just like really contemplating, like, why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it was just like a massive sense of burnout as well? Like you mentioned, you came back from the Paralympic Games, you'd been training presumably up to that point, and you probably, like, I think when you're in those moments where you're just training for something and you're really on pursuit of a goal, you don't have time, or you tell yourself, I don't have time to worry, I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. Do you feel like after you came back, it was almost like, well, you're not necessarily working towards like an impending games, but more so you've gotten back and there's just like this mirror in front of you that's telling you this is all the things that you may have suppressed over the last few years, and this is what's coming out right now?
Yeah, I think in hospital, when I saw sit skin, I was like, sweet, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go to Paralympic Games. And that was kind of the only thing that I had on my like list to do. So once I started skiing, I basically didn't stop or just trained, skied, and basically did that for the next 5 years, and didn't really let myself have time to think about what was going on. Really, I kind of was just like, all I was thinking about was the Paralympic Games, because that's kind of like, I don't know if that was, I wanted that for people to kind of see me as normal again, or if it was like my way of making myself not feel disabled.
You mentioned that like it was a way, just there before you mentioned it was a way for people to maybe see you as normal. Following the accident, did you find that people started to treat you differently, and almost they felt they would give you this sympathy, and they would treat you as though like you needed more support, and maybe it came from a good intent, but sometimes when you hear those sort of things, if you've got a bit of pride, a bit of ego, as all of us do as men, it's a bit of an uncomfortable thing to be treated almost like that. Did you find that you experienced some of those things?
Yeah, I think not with my close mates or family. They kind of did not treat me any different, which was so good. I didn't want to be treated differently. I was still me. I just couldn't walk. So it was times in supermarkets where you've had random people come to me like, "Oh, well done for being out." And I was like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" And like, I still get it like to this day. They're like, "Oh, you're an inspiration for being up and about." I'm like, you have no idea, one, what I do for a living, or like what I've done the last 10 years. And like, I know it comes from a good heart, but it's just like the most, like, being called an inspiration is cool, but it's also like kind of like a bit of a like
It feels like it others you in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just kind of puts you in like, am I an inspiration because I'm living a life in a chair, or like because I'm a Paralympian? Like, and the person on the street's just like, they've seen me in a chair and they're like, "Oh, you're an inspiration because you're in a chair and you're here on the street." Like, and to me, that annoys me, because I'm not an inspiration because I'm just in a chair and I'm doing stuff. I'm more of an inspiration because I've been to a Paralympic Games and I've skied down a slope that probably most people wouldn't even look at. So it's just little comments like that where I'm like, look, I know you come from a good place, but like, just shut up.
Yeah.
In the kindest way.
Yeah. No, I fully hear you on that. And did you feel like that mentality is different based on the environment you're in? Like, when you're at the Paralympic Games, I don't think anyone would really have that mentality of, you're an inspiration because you're doing what you're doing in a chair. It's, again, you're an inspiration because of the activity you're competing in the Paralympic Games. So is it more of just like a situation dependent type thing as to you feel how people react and how people perceive you?
Yeah, 100%. When you're at the Games, you're at the biggest elite event that you can be at. So you're not an inspiration for being there. Your competition, and you're looking at the other competitors being like, "I want to fucking kill you out there." It's like, right? So
we've got that competitive drive.
Everyone's just like, everyone's friends, but like, we all want to beat each other. So when you're in that environment with, I guess, other people in chairs with disabilities, like, it's great because there's no stigma about anyone being like an inspiration or anything. Everyone's just there as like another event, or as you would as like the F1s or Olympic Games or anything like that. We've all trained really hard to be here, and we're all elite athletes, and that inspiration, because we're just there in a chair, doesn't come true. So it's nice to be in those situations because it feels like you're more. You're more than, I guess, your disability.
Yeah, absolutely. What does a typical training day look like, especially leading up to the games? You know, you've mentioned how intense and regimented it is. Is it lots of time on the slopes? Is it lots of cardio? What does it look like?
Yeah, a lot of all of that. There's, I guess, a typical day in Australia. You'll be up from like 6, let's say up from 6 on the snow at like 8:30, finish around 12, and you'll go home, have lunch, and then I'll probably train around 1:32 for about an hour and a half, whether it's cardio and strength. Cardio is about an hour, and strength is about probably 45, depends on what's happening. And then I start work at 4, and then finish work from anywhere from 11 or 10 to 12, and then do that. And training is 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off for the winter.
It's hectic. So you're doing that for 4 years straight, and then you get to Pyeongchang, for example, and you're up on the slopes, you're up at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
What is possibly going through your mind when you're thinking, this is the moment that I've been training for 4 years? Is it excitement? Is it nerves? Is it everything?
Yeah. So Pyeongchang and Beijing were totally two different feelings. Pyeongchang being 2018 Paralympics. I went there. I went there wanting to obviously podium, but didn't like. I thought unless I have some blinder of a run, I'm not going to get in the top 3. So I wanted to get top 15, and I got 11 for downhill, and then I had probably back then one of the best runs ever, and then the games felt sick. The games were sick. The food hall was amazing. I always talk about the food hall because it was at 24/7. You can get any food you want.
Did you have like a go-to?
The burgers, pizza and burgers.
That's pretty good.
Gnarly.
That's pretty good. But Beijing, there was. What was it? Then the year after South Korea, we had 2019 World Championships in Selnovaya and Slovenia, so Italy and Slovenia. And I'm more of a speed skier, so like the downhill Super G type races. And this downhill race, it'd been snowing for a few days, and with downhill, you can't race it downhill unless you have one training run on the course. So you normally have 2 or 3 days where you get to ski the course, and you can go as slow or as fast as you want, but you get to learn the course, understand where you're going to get air, where you kind of push it, where you should maybe slow down and stuff. But because 2019, the snow was just a bad week, and we got heaps of snow. We had one training run in the morning and then the race in the afternoon. So in the training run in the morning, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna send it, and I'm gonna try what I hope works around this corner, and if not, I'll fix that for the race. And I'm going down, and when I'm skiing in a downhill, it's either there's no hesitation. It's like I'm 100% committed to this turn, because if you don't, then you're gonna hurt yourself, or you're gonna crash. And anyway, I come around this turn and I missed the next turn, and that's fine in training run. You can miss turns and stuff. That's fine. And I was like, okay, let's try and make the next one. And then I don't really know what I was thinking. I kind of straight lined down the hill for 2 turns, and then went to do another turn to the right. and I just slid out, crashed, tumbled through 3 nets, and ended up like kind of on the tree line in this training run. I was like, fuck, that hurt. And then got back down, kind of brushed myself off, and then I was like, all right, let's go and do the race. So we had to go back up and kind of do the race. It was like right after each other. So I'm at the top of the race for the downhill, and the course is it's getting pretty bumpy. It's getting really bad, and like people are starting to say they're not racing. They're getting pulled out. The coaches are saying, no, it's too dangerous. You can't go. And I get a call on the radio from my coach, and he's like, oh, you want to race? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to race. And my ski tech goes, can you please just send it because everyone else is being fucking pussies? And I was like, no worries, I can do that.
Trust Sam to send
and then I get down. I don't know how I managed to complete this downhill, but it was chaos. And I get 6. I think I finished up 6th in the world for that.
Wow.
Whoa.
So that's my career highlight. But and then the rest of the events I just kind of blacked out. I was coming in the Super G the next day. I was coming first and had one more gate to go, and I kind of knew I was coming up to the finish, and I kind of like let my body relax, and then I crashed. So I've never done that again.
Yeah. Do you reckon like you put more emphasis on the Paralympic Games or the Worlds? Because like I know different sports have different like emphasis. Like for example, tennis players care more about winning a Grand Slam than they do winning a gold medal at the Paralympics or Olympics. What's it like for sit skiing? I imagine it'd be kind of more emphasis on the Paralympics.
I think it'd be the Paralympics because it's more known. Like a world championship is exactly the same as a Paralympic Games. It's just not as prestige because it doesn't have that ring about it, or that hype and fame, or not fame, that hype and news about the Paralympics.
Yeah, and that broadcast about it.
Exactly, right? So, I would say I want to win at the Paralympics, but you win a medal at World Champs, and it's exactly the same, like, respect as a Paralympic Games. You just don't get that Paralympic gold medal.
Tell us, did you going into sit skiing, like, because something that I remember you mentioned on Cooper Chapman's pod was that there's a difference between, for example, you get a lot of support when you first get diagnosed with some form of disability, but then the progression to go into high performance is a completely different aspect of support. Because you're in like a high performance space. Did you get, for example, like high performance psychologists, certain physios, and like people catered to your team to help you excel?
Yeah. So at the moment, we're through Snow Australia, who manage all the winter sports in Australia, and then through them we get a nutritionist, S&C. Well, I picked my S&C coach, but an S&C coach, a psychologist. What else do we get?
Physio.
Physio. Coaches. Yeah, well, you've got to get to a high performance stature pretty much before you can access that. Otherwise, you got to pay for it all up to that. And it's not cheap. Skiing, like you said, you've been once. Skiing is.
I was 8. I don't know how much I remember.
It's not a cheap sport. And when you travel I went overseas in January, the start of this year, and I traveled with 110 kilos of gear, and on top of the flight, which was I think $2,500, the excess luggage was $3,200. So on top of that, you've got to pay for, and then you've got to buy skis, and skis aren't cheap, and I reckon I break $4,000 of skis every season. So I'm not in the sport to be rich or to enjoy having money, because it just goes into skis and skiing. And I'm in the sport because I love the freedom. It's kind of the same feeling as a motorbike, and it gives you that adrenaline rush. And like, I'm still the same guy, and I need that adrenaline rush, and I love it so much. But yeah, it's not an easy sport to be into.
I gotta ask you though, I know we kind of glossed over it before, but you mentioned how there was a point when you came back from Pyeongchang and all these feelings just re-emerged for you again. How did you
Yeah.
actually work through those things? Because, you know, you would have thought that, for example, you would have had like the first few years after you were in the wheelchair, there would have been really good opportunities to kind of put everything behind you. But the fact that it re-emerged, how did you actually just kind
Yeah.
of settle with it and get out of the kind of mentality of, discomfort?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I just kind of focused on what I had achieved over the last 5 years, and kind of like put it into perspective of what I'm doing now in my life and what I was doing prior. Like, I would never be a elite athlete in my prior life. Yeah, life was great. Yeah, I had like everything was great, but the life I was living then or now is so much more fulfilling in every way than I could ever imagine my other life or my old life being. So I think I just kind of just sat with my feelings and my kind of just spoke to myself internally for a few months, and kind of just got myself through it. And I mean, kept that happy and resilient energy, because I'm not really one to dwell or have negative emotions. I just don't like it. It just doesn't make me feel good. And I think having that, like, if you have a positive energy or good energy around you, you're going to bring in those people into your life as well. So having good people and all that good energy around me helped me realize, oh yeah, my life is not bad. It's actually really good, and I've done this, I've done that, and I'm going to go and do a lot more with my life over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So it's, yeah, I wish like back then I didn't really, I thought talking to a psychologist was a point of weakness, or like they wouldn't be able to help me because they don't know me. But we've recently had a new psychologist on the team, and speaking with her more about performance mindset and trying to use the nerves or use your visual cues as performance, or get that extra 1%. Yeah, I wish I kind of did speak to someone back then, because it would have been a lot easier to get through, and having someone to talk to, or even a partner or family, would have been nice. But I kind of kept it in, and like, we got through it and we're fine. But it would have been nice to realize talking to someone or being open is not like, it's not bad. It's not something that you shouldn't do. And I think as men, it's like we're meant to be these big, tough, strong, we don't cry people. But I mean, we cry. Everyone cries, right? And we're all like, we want to be hugged and we want to be understood and listened. So I think any young male listening to this, just know that it's okay to like cry and talk to someone if you're going through something hard, or reach out to any mates, because I'm sure they're going through probably something similar, or have been, or might have some advice to help you out.
Absolutely. And I think what I love about a lot of what you just said there is, it seems like you always had that mentality of like, I get to do this, not focusing on what you can't do, but what you get to do, which is something Ilan and I have spoken about recently, like even with examples of, just going to the gym or doing the mundane tasks in your life that, you don't necessarily think about all the time. They might just be habitual for you, but the mentality of, I just get to do this, and how freaking good is that, can honestly sometimes be enough to just give us that solace and that satisfaction and that happiness to reinvigorate ourselves in times where we might be feeling a little bit down. And it seems like that's kind of the mentality you employed during that time after when you started feeling like you were in a bit of a rut again, but were able to come through with it. And it seems like the psych was really good at, going through those things with you and talking about performance indicators. And I guess just on that, I wanted to ask, do you feel like a lot of what you would talk about from a performance perspective with your psych is like separating Sam as a person from Sam as the Paralympian?
Yeah, see, that's what that's what I'm trying to do, or I've been trying to do over the last 5 years, 6 years, and it's hard because I still have all my same fears of like crashing and kind of hurting you. Well, I wouldn't say hurting yourself, but just crashing and not finishing the race. But at the top of a race, you've got to kind of know that that's a possibility, yes. But I've done all the training up to this point. You're here. You're good enough to be here. You know what you got to do, and just kind of like go through the motions, like acknowledge the fear, and then use it as like energy or motivation, or like bring it to more. I wouldn't say fear is negative, but bring it to more the positive side of your energy, and help it. Let it help you get through the race or get through that emotion. And then I think the hardest bit of a race is the bit before you're about to go, where you've got one person in front of you, and they count him down, and you're like, fuck, okay, this is it. That's kind of like, what am I doing? Do I need to do anything? And you're like, then you overthink for a bit, then you're like, no, shut up, let's just focus, you know what you're doing. And then you see him go, and you're like, fuck, okay, I'm about a minute away from on the course, and you're like, and then he counts down 30 seconds, and then you kind of stop, you have a few breaths, and then you get 10 seconds, and then you're like, all right, you kind of forget everything. And then once the timer goes and you push out, you literally, in a downhill, in the faster ones, they're all a blur. I can remember every downhill I've raced, but once you push out, you kind of, all that fear is left at the top, and you're in the moment, and you know exactly what you're doing. And downhill, I don't know why I love it, but because it's fucking scary. But when you are in that moment and you're going 120 k's down an hour, and you're doing a turn, and your head is like so close to the snow, and you've got, I don't know, X amount of G's going through your body, and then you finish that race, it's the best feeling in the world, without a fail.
Insane. And I remember hearing you also mentioned that there was a moment where you experienced seeing your family at the end of the race at the Paralympics, and you hadn't seen them for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, it sounds like an incredible moment, but what is it at that moment that made it stand out from every other moment that you've experienced at Paralympics or at World Champs? Because, you've done some pretty sick things on those stages. What was it about that moment, about, seeing your loved ones at the end of the race?
I think it was kind of that full circle moment where we've gone from being in hospital and being so like on the bottom end of the scale, sad, down and stuff, and then we've literally gone through so much, and we've come to the other side where we've look where we are. We're at a Paralympic Games, and I've just completed my first Paralympic event, and we're all here together. And I don't think if we asked ourselves when I was in hospital, oh, do you think we'll be at 2018 Paralympics watching me just compete a downhill, we would have said, no, not a chance. So it was just really just like genuine to know that we had all gone through kind of the same emotions. I think they would have probably been through a bit more because I think it's harder for them. I think it's harder to watch someone go through heartache or hardship if you're not that person.
Yeah.
And then watching someone go through or a downhill race as well, it's a lot harder for them because they have no control of the outcome. In, I guess, both scenarios, they have no control of the outcome. I control both outcomes. So I think I had it a lot easier emotionally than they did. And then it was just felt like we had kind of left that those sad emotions in the past, and it was like, sweet, we've just done this. Now let's kind of move on and see what else we can do, I guess.
Epic.
No, that's awesome. I mean, sit skiing was a massive sort of, escape for you afterwards. And
Yeah,
just before we started recording, you mentioned that you're on a bit of a break at the moment. What are you up to currently?
I've been skiing for 10 years, and I've lost a love for it. I want to go to Italy, 26 Paralympics. So I'm just kind of trying to find the love for it. Like, I still love skiing, but the training side, I'm just a bit over it. So I'm taking a step back from that. Still training in the gym, but taking a year off snow. But I'm actually opening up a business in Jindabyne over the next, I want to say 6 months, but
Congrats.
it's getting slower or further and further away, which is a little bit stressful, but it's an exciting venture at the moment. I'm opening up a recovery center with ice baths and saunas and float tanks down in Jindabyne with my partner.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's epic. I guess it gives you, another facet to who you are as a person, just another something where you can conquer and, just try something new, like you did 10 plus years ago when, you were doing your TAFE course, and then you picked up the apprenticeship course. It's just another example where, you just want to discover something new, right? And, I feel like it's something you hear about often where athletes take time away from the sport they love, and I'm sure it doesn't mean that you don't want to get back there. I feel like it's natural in any realm to go through highs and lows in your hobby, and that's just a part of it, and you'll allow it to take you wherever it takes you, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think last year I knew I needed time off, but I didn't fight for it. And this year it hit me more, and I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to my mind and my body and be like, no, I think I need this to be able to make the next 2 years or 2.5 years of skiing, because I just feel mentally tired. So I just needed to focus my energy on something else and move away from skiing for a little bit, and then come back, and hopefully we're back up to full fire levels.
And I mean, I feel like life is so short as well. And the thing, if you're an athlete, that's all you're dedicating yourself to at times, and it can become all too consuming. I think Jeremy just mentioned before, a lot of athletes pursue business ventures after their career because they want to see what else there is to life. They want to travel. They want to have some sort of, I call it diversifying your life stocks, because there's times in life, I think, especially when we're younger, where we tend to get really hell-bent on one thing. Like, it could be our academic career, it could be our occupation, it could be things we do, but it's one thing only, and we can base our self-worth on how we perform there. So if we perform well, we're the best person. If we don't do that well, we're a piece of shit. And I think
Yeah.
the reason that we really like this whole idea of diversifying our ventures is because it gives you more nuance. First of all, you have more enjoyment in life, but also at the same time, like, you can afford to fuck up and not make it feel as though it's a massive reflection of your self-worth. It's just one of many things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, 100%. And I've heard Cooper talk about, like, you as the athlete and then you as the human. It's hard to, well, it's difficult to kind of move out of you when you've been an athlete for 10 or so years of your life. That's kind of all you know. So it's hard to move out of that life and be someone else, be Sam, the business owner. I don't know. But it's, yeah, I think when I was skiing, this part of my life was never, I was like, oh yeah, it'll just, whatever, I'll just find something. And I never really put time aside to think and kind of process it. So now I'm enjoying finding who I am outside of skiing and doing something outside of skiing. It's kind of, yeah, I wouldn't say it's relaxing, but it's just a different type of recovery, I guess.
Love it.
Different type of adrenaline you'll be experiencing as well, mate. For sure. Now, I also wanted to ask, role models, is that something that's been imperative for you as a Paralympian yourself, as an athlete? Are there people that you've always looked up to, or maybe not always looked up to, but you feel like have grown to look up to over your career? Or do you feel like this whole career of yours has just been pretty internal?
Yeah, I think the start of it, like the first few years, I looked up to a few people, Kurt Fearnley, one of them. I think just because he pushed the boundaries as a kid and as I guess, an adult with his disability, and like I was so new to the area, or whatever you want to call it, and I didn't really know how far you could push it. I guess everyone's different, and it's kind of what your mind wants to do. But he gave me like the light or the motivation to not really hold back and just kind of try everything, keep like really push yourself. And like we're pretty good friends. Like we know each other pretty well. I wouldn't say we talk a lot, but he's always, like, whenever I see him, he's always happy to, willing just to come and chat and just kind of listen. And he's a really good listener. He'll sit there and listen and ask questions. And like when you talk to him, it feels like he's actually taking in everything you're saying and not like off somewhere else or kind of elsewhere. So he's really a really good person that I look up to and I would call a good mate. But then after him, I think a lot of it has been internally for I guess the second half or last few years of my life. It's I know it's a lot of mind over matter, and like telling yourself, yeah, you can, or I don't want to train, but this hour on the ski erg or whatever will be, obviously, is going to be beneficial, and you're going to love how you feel afterwards. So it's I love seeing how hard I can push myself and how much pain I can go through and then get through, because it's such a good feeling.
Love that, mate. That's epic. Now, we've seen what you've done with the All the Way Up documentary.
Yep.
Seems like we've got another chapter heading towards that with your business. So maybe we'll have to look out for another chapter of Sam Tait. Hey.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't think the business will give me the same thrills as All the Way Up, but yeah, it's a different chapter. It's another story. It's another. Yeah, I don't know. It's another story. So yeah, I'm pretty excited
Epic,
for that.
mate.
Yeah.
You've got a quote, and we really love it, but we want you to kind of expand on it a bit. It's the do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can do what others can't.
Yeah, so that quote just resonates me being like, I guess, wouldn't say as more of an athlete, but just with someone with a disability, I like to prove to myself that I can do anything I want or anything that I can, whether it's like, I think this quote really just helps me get through big gym sessions, where I know like this is going to suck or this is going to hurt, but it's I'm doing today, like I'm going to train today when others probably might sleep and I don't. So tomorrow I can beat them basically in a race is where it comes down for me. So it gets me through those hard training sessions. That's for sure.
Epic. Love that, mate. On that note, before we wrap up, just wanted to say a big thank you for coming on and for talking us through your incredible career. And we're so excited to see what is in store next for Sam Tait. Now, mate, one thing we wanted to ask before leaving off is, what is one message you would like to impart on a younger audience?
Oh, there's so many messages. I think one that I have kind of only kind of realized now is to follow your dreams and your passions, because that's going to give you so much more fulfillment than doing that job that you hate, or it's just a 9-to-5 job that you're doing just for a wage. If you have a passion or an idea, or you want to try that sport, just go for it, because I think you're always going to wonder, what if I did that, or what if I did that idea? And I think it'll always eat you inside a little bit. I think just follow your dreams and be true to yourself.
Mate, we love that. It's a truly beautiful message, and I think it's something we try to also promote quite a bit, and having that message be promoted by someone like yourself is even more important. So I want to ask, where can people find you? Like social media, email?
Yeah, basically just Instagram. I've got Facebook, but I don't really use it too much. It's just Instagram. And I don't really use that too much either. Like, I know I should post a lot more, but I just don't at the moment. So I'm going to try and start posting.
Fair enough.
Just Instagram.
Epic. Well, thank you, mate. Thanks for being a part of the show. And we're so excited to see what is in store next for you, mate. So congratulations on everything so far of your career, and we can't wait to see what's up and coming.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I appreciate it being here. It was a good chat.
Our pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Cheers.
mate.
Bye.
Thank you.